Greetings, everyone. In this video, I want to go over this Python code that I have already shared with you, and it finds the smallest element of a given array of numbers. So in this case, for example, if this array of numbers are given, the idea is that we write a program that could find the smallest element in this array, which is number 2. So to program in Python, one of the platforms that you can use is the Google Colab. It's an open source browser-based Python programming platform that I personally use. So to access Google Colab, what you need to do is just go to your browser and type Colab researchgoogle.com. So I have to erase this extra part. And if you do that, Google Colab is going to bring you to this page. You have to log in into your Google account so you keep track of the programs that you are creating. So you're going to come to this page. Either you can open the programs that you have already written or somebody shared with you, or you can create a new notebook. So if you create a new notebook, you're going to see a page like this one. So in a space like this with this arrow, you can program. Something like this, and I click on this triangle, and what it does, it will execute this program. There's a little bit of a delay. Probably my internet connection is not good. So as you can see, if it goes through, then we can see the output of this program, which is simply hello world. Usually this is the first line of the code that people write in any programming platform. So you can continue on adding other commands like this one. And as you see, you can see the results over here. The difference between what you see here and MATLAB is that if you write a computation like a is equal to 2 plus 3, it doesn't necessarily going to produce an output in the output platform. You have to print whatever you're doing in order to see the output. This is a little bit different than MATLAB that some of you may have worked with. So you can continue writing a program in this space, or if you want, you can just create another box and try to continue in this box, and you'll see the output separate from the top one. All right, so let me go back to the program that I've already shared with you, and I will try to quickly walk you through this program so you can get a sense of how we program in Python. So in Python, if you look at on the top, you would usually see something like import, a name, and as MP. So what's happening here is that in Python, there are lots of libraries that people have already written functionalities that you can call these libraries and use those functions. And the name of the library appears first, and as is like a shorthand abbreviation or whatever you want to use to refer to the elements that you call from this library. So here, NumPy is the library that contains most of the mathematical operations that people use. And often it is abbreviated to MP when people want to call this library. So in Python program, whenever you see a green line with a hashtag in front, this is a comment line. It means that this is a line that you're just leaving a comment, and when the program goes through execution, this line is not going to be executed, right? So you know what comment is, but here just note that we do comments by putting the hashtag at the beginning of the line. So usually start with the libraries. What you see next is a function. So Function is a set of commands that you want to call over and over, and it consists of a name of the function, and in the parentheses, whatever goes inside the arguments that goes inside the function, then inside indentation that you see, whatever indented from the def, it's going to be the content of the function that you have. So this is what you do in the function, and the function always ends with something called return, which basically explains what is it gonna be returned when you call this function. So we're gonna come back to this function later, but let's move on. So here we have an array, and keep in mind that the objective of this code is that given array, such as this one, that I entered manually in this code, I want to find the smallest element. So before doing that, I'm just gonna introduce and use some commands, so I can see what happens after executing the code. So here we have the array. Then here I use the print command to show the content of this array to the execution board. And I'm also telling people what's the length of this array. And if you look at these two lines, if you execute them, the output is going to be what you see over here, which is the array, and this is the length. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 elements in it. So the length returns the size of this array. Then what we do is we call the function minimum element, and we send the array as an argument, and it will go to this function. All right, this is a function that we have written, and what it does basically is it starts with the first element. And this is a good point to highlight that unlike MATLAB, in Python, we count the arrays from 0. So this is element 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So that's what we should keep in mind always, that in Python, they count, the first element is always index 0. And so what this minimum element function is doing, it starts by comparing the first element with the next one, right? And if the next one is smaller than the first element, it swaps and basically pushes the next element to the first element. And then it goes to the next one. And if, again, compares with the first element, if it is smaller, it pushes forward in here. For example, 3 is going to be pushed forward. And it walks through all the way. And eventually this way, what you end up with is that the first element is going to be the minimum element of this array. So here, one thing that you can notice is that this walking through element by element, you can do it by using a for loop in Python. So you can easily look up how do you write a for loop, and you can get to the bottom of what is this lines mean. And if it's the comparison that just keeps comparing the first element with the next element as you're looping through the array, and what's happening through these 3 lines, I think I'm going to leave it to you guys to inspect. Basically, it's not that complicated to see what's going on, is that it just swaps the elements if the element that you're comparing with the first element is smaller. All right, otherwise nothing happens. And at the end, it returns the PTS, the array that you send in. And now what happens is that after executing the minimum element, if I look at the array PTS, the output is going to look like this. And as you see, the smallest element pushed forward, right? And as you see also, number 3 for a while was the smallest element, and it was element number 1. But when we reached element 2, they swapped, and now 3 is here. So this is just to show that this minimum element, the way it worked, it rearranged the array. And then we know the minimum element is the first element, so you would say that minimum element is the element number 0. So that's going to return this number 2. All right. So this is just a sample code for you guys just to see how you work with some basic elements of Python programming, which is writing a function, for loops, if loops, and etc. And many times when I post problems like this as practice for coding, I see that people go and just use built-in library commands of the Python. For example, if you remember, I told you guys that NP or NumPython is the math library of the Python. And if you go to this math library, there's already a command called amin. This is array minimum. And NP means that NP dot is the name of the library. Go to the library NP and grab the function amin and execute it on the PTS. Okay, so if you execute this command, then what's going to happen is that this function, just by this one line, it will return the minimum value, which is number 2. All right. So this is obviously a smarter way, but keep in mind that in these practice codes, the idea is not just to get the minimum element, but the idea is what you have to focus is to practice writing the basic codes and basically writing what is masked behind this amin, right? So in this simple setting, getting to see the interplay of coding, right? So I hope that this code is a good starting point. So to follow up on this code and build on this code, what I have asked in one of your assignment is that now that you have the code and you can find the minimum element of the code, then try to expand on it and now try to sort the array. So if you see here, we have just pushed the first element to the beginning, the others are not sorted. Now I want to see if you guys can expand on this and basically write a program that not only finds the smallest element, but also it sorts the array from smallest to the largest value.